Salt, is it our friend or foe for optimal brain health and your best memory? In recent years, numerous studies have been published in periodicals disproving that sodium is a primary culprit in causing high blood pressure. In fact, many studies are showing low sodium diets to be more harmful than they once thought high sodium diets to be. While the debate is really still ongoing, it's important for us to be aware and to stay up on the latest research as it becomes available and gets published. Hi, I'm Julia Lundstrom, a neuroscience and brain health educator and the CEO of Simple Smart Science. If you want to learn more about what foods you should and shouldn't be eating for your happiest, healthiest brain, subscribe to my channel below. From a brain health perspective, what's important to know is that both too much and too little sodium can be harmful and can cause brain cell damage. But sodium is so important. Sodium plays a huge role in helping that brain conduct nerve signals and is a key determinant of cerebral fluid balance. What's also important to understand is that whole salt intake is not the same as sodium intake. Whole salt can provide a much needed balance of minerals to the brain and body, whereas sodium can actually wreak havoc on your whole body. Whole salt is not equal to sodium alone. Instead, whole unrefined, unprocessed salt is the equivalent of, it's going to get technical, sodium, calcium, potassium, magnesium, and more than 20 other trace minerals. That's a whole different animal. So, salt is really just simply misunderstood. Its name has been mistakenly interchangeable with sodium for so long, when it's so much more important than that. And not to give sodium a bad rap, it is very important minerals for our body and is definitely fundamental for neurotransmitter and normal brain functions, but it needs to be balanced by the presence of all of its other beneficial elements. Specifically, whole unrefined salt is packed full of other trace minerals. These minerals help regulate the pH balance of our blood and other fluids in the body, as well as help control the nervous system function. And what are the two main players in the nervous system? The spinal cord and the brain. Many of these minerals are electrolytes, acting as electrical conduits and energy converters, and that's a pretty big deal any way you look at it. And potassium is especially essential in the generation of electrical impulses that allow the brain and your muscles to function. It seems really all the trouble began when companies started refining whole salt. They removed a ton of powerful, naturally occurring, and exquisitely balanced trace minerals that we need. And this practice has now been attributed to major health disorders, which escalated as more processed food and more fast food companies began using sodium, and the manufacturers began loading their products with this refined salt, which is all sodium. According to the CDC, 70% of sodium consumed is from processed and fast food restaurants. 70%. Without the balancing effect of the other trace minerals, refined salt has way too much sodium. And this has led to a slew of chronic health problems due to mineral deficiencies and pH imbalance. Some substances that we consume throughout the day, such as caffeinated coffee and sugar, actually pull water out of our tissues. Salt helps retain and bring water back into them. What's the first thing you get in the hospital when you're dehydrated? A saline bag, aka salt bag. Many reoccurring conditions such as brain fog and anxiety and headaches are associated with mineral deficiencies and chronic dehydration. Fortunately, they can be easily reversed through taking out processed foods from your lifestyle and changing to a mineral-rich diet, which includes your whole salt. So, what kind of salt should you buy? The body of evidence today points to whole, unrefined, unprocessed salt, just like I said. Some of the most popular, your Celtic sea salt and Himalayan salt, but there are so many other different kinds available from all over the world. And they're so much fun to try out and taste. You'll find different colors and shades, including black salt, due to the mineral composition and the clay and the dirt that's in those areas. Some taste a little smoky and are mild, and some are really strong. But there's something else you should know. All salt is sea salt, so don't be fooled. However, you could still be buying refined, processed, mineral-deficient salt, so please be sure to read that label. What you want is unrefined whole salt. Look for the ones with no mineral additives, disguised pretending to be the original unrefined product. For example, companies will strip whole salt of essential minerals and either add black anti-caking agents or change the form of the other minerals so they won't clump and then put them back in. The problem with modified sea salts such as these are that they're harder for the body to break down and for your body to absorb these minerals. But what about iodine? Doesn't everyone need that? The truth is that the iodine added to table salt isn't nearly as much as we really need in our diet, so that should not be a reason to buy table salt or other refined brands. Instead, eat more iodine-rich foods, especially ones that are good for your brain health, such as cod or halibut or crab, scallops, eggs, some yogurts, and one of the best natural sources from around the world is seaweed. Go over some sushi and get some rolls wrapped in that iodine-rich sushi or seaweed. Or you can get that dry seaweed at your natural food store and just sprinkle it on your salads. Getting our essential vitamins and trace minerals from whole foods rather than processed foods, often sold in a box, is always the best and safest way to get the right ratio of them. That is especially true when it comes to iodine and salt. Lastly, let's talk briefly about salt alternatives. How about no, if at all possible? Use of salt substitutes, unless approved by your physician, may prove more problematic than beneficial, as they've been linked to harmful interactions when you eat them under the wrong conditions. Check with your doctor. Once again, they tend to be whole salt stripped of sodium, thus creating a mineral ratio nature did not intend for us to eat. So when in doubt, go the natural route. So where can you get these whole salts? They're actually really common these days. You can find them at almost every single grocery store. Of course, natural growers, your Whole Foods, places like that, specialty markets, and online. Just remember to read the label. There are lots of specifically designed salt containers available, so you can reach for a pinch when you're cooking or just sit down to enjoy something delicious. Let go of the idea of using it sparingly, but only if it's the good stuff, right? And it's always great to add a little sea salt and some water with a squeeze of lemon. It tastes delicious. So bon appetit and enjoy that sea salt.